Welcome to the Mommunity Podcast.
We are Kimberly King
and Diane Tarantini,
two survivor moms dedicated to helping you navigate the tough topics of motherhood.
School is in session.
Ding, ding, ding. Hey, everybody. We are back today to talk about some of the questions you've sent in for us to answer. So got a really good topic today. Diane and I are going to talk about why kids don't always tell when something unsafe or dangerous happens and how you can really navigate these conversations in a more effective way by the questions you ask after things like play dates, sleepovers, church activities, soccer practice, and what have you. So, Diane, what are some of the like questions you would ask your kids when they would come home from a thing like that? Like what worked, what didn't work?
So one thing I know from the work that I've done with nonprofits and young people is to always ask open-ended questions. You set yourself up for failure with regards to information gathering if it's a yes or no answer. So you don't want to do that. But I think a fantastic question after you ask about all the details is to ask the child, would you like to go there again?
Oh, that's good.
If they balk, that's a red flag. How about you? What do you ask?
Yes, that's good. So if they're like, yeah, no, I'm good, then that's a definite red flag. My kids are a whole lot, older now, but I remember back when they had play dates and things, I started off, new mom. I was like, how is the play date? Fine. What'd you do? Nothing. And like, if you do that, it carries over to the tween years and the teen years and you get no information. Sure. So like, I would say, so what was the most fun thing that you did with your friend Tommy at the play date? And then that gets your child talking. Then I would go into like, did anybody get into trouble? Because your kids aren't going to tell you that unless you ask. And then, you hear what happened, if anybody got into trouble. And then I would kind of lean into just making sure there were body safety situations going on. So like, did anybody keep a secret or ask you to? Yes. And then what was the one we were talking about at the end? Like at the end of every kind of like conversation, a good question to ask. The did anybody break your body safety rules? Yes. So just ask, right?
Yes. Yeah, you had mentioned the how was this event. It doesn't really lend itself to a involved and detailed conversation. Yeah, so that's why exactly. I love the thing that the specific questions that you ask. I remember when I'd walk my kids home from the school bus, I would always ask, like, what was the highlight of your day? What was like the low point of your day? And did you learn anything really cool? So
that's great. I love that.
Yeah, doing that highs and lows. Yeah. And another thing, and this is a little selfish, I don't know about you, but I always wanted to be the cool mom. I always wanted to be the Kool-Aid mom where everybody wants to be at my house with my kids doing, eating my food. So when you ask all these questions, you find out what kids love to do and eat and games they like to play. And then it allows you to meet them where they are and to provide the things that they love.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that just made me think of something. So when you're the mom hosting all the play dates and the parties and the hangouts, you know how you watch your kids. You know you keep the doors open and you're supervising and you're keeping them offline and stuff. But many parents don't do that. So when you assume that your child is being watched at the same level of care and supervision that what you do, you're making a huge mistake because frequently parents just leave their kids, with the video games in the basement. or like outside, it's good to go outside, ride bikes, have fun, do all that stuff, but you always want to have eyes on those kids, especially when they're under 10.
Yeah, I agree. It is I don't think people are ever going to be as safe as I am. Um, we talked about it on an Instagram live,
Yeah.
with regards to sleepovers, which is
Oh
this
yeah.
giant stretch of time, um, which in a normal household the kids aren't going to have that much supervision. But that's why we always had the rule that you do a 2-hour play date in a setting, and then you come home and we debrief about it, and we decide
Yeah.
if you're going for a longer stretch or
Yeah,
or a sleepover.
that's
I
really
like that
good.
test drive.
Yeah, and also like even before test driving a sleepover, like this is bringing me back to like when my kids were 3. When we would do play dates, I would drop them off, but I would come back. I would just pop back in just to see,
Yes.
just so, oh, I forgot to tell you that, blah, blah. Especially if they were like in the neighborhood, I would pop back in. And that's one thing, like it's really important to have that open door policy. And if you let the mom know, like, hey, I'm all, so excited for your son and my son to play, and we're gonna, get to know each other as moms, and this is great. But I'd love to pop by, is that okay? And if anybody says no, another red flag. Like
Yeah.
you want to be able to catch somebody doing what they normally do. And if what they normally do is like, sleep on the couch or scroll on their Pinterest and not watch their kids or yours, you got to worry. So, and these are good questions to ask the kids too. Like, so,
Yeah.
where was Tommy's mom in the kitchen while you guys were painting, or, like ask, right?
Yeah, in this world of parents working from home, like what if they're in a corporate big deal meeting, door shut
Yeah.
for an hour?
Right.
So much can happen. So I love the idea of spot inspections. I know I heard that on the Darkness to Light 2-hour training that I took. Um, those drop-ins when you and your partner are on a date, when a child's at a play date, a sleepover, if you can't go, send your best friend, your mom, your brother, um, the policeman who lives next door. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
if
the
it's
other
just,
thing, and I know we've talked about this before, is okay, so why are we talking about this? Because the new statistics on child to child sexual abuse are crazy.
yeah,
And so like
yes,
we do need to be aware that children, sexually abused children, it used to be what,
yes,
40%, and now
yes,
it's
70.
like over the
Yeah,
top.
as scary as the people are that are DMing your children on their gaming
Mm,
platforms, dude.
it's
They're
crazy.
in their homeroom, they're in their physics class, that yeah, and
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot, we both follow a lot of child safety people, but that, the encouragement to in a social setting that you have control over, to check those phones at the door is so
Yeah,
important because, kids are showing other kids porn. Whether you have all your devices locked down, the other kids
absolutely.
may not have their devices locked down. And 40% of kids are seeing pornography at school on other kids' devices.
Ugh.
So, yeah, that would be maybe something that you'd want to do when your child goes to an event. Like, give me your no, you can't say give me your phone because then they can't text you if something scary happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tricky situation for sure. And I know like besides pornography, kids are seeing like, these challenges like go eat cinnamon, and there's all these
Yes.
dangerous challenges. And if you
Yes.
show a young child something and dare them to do it, children are impulsive and they don't understand, and sometimes people can get really hurt with just what they see. So,
Um, Even current events,
mm,
um, can be really frightening, and I have a super tender heart for animals, and I live in West Virginia, and let me tell you, when it's hunting season and everyone's showing what they did in the woods, I block that. I am
yeah,
traumatized. So all kinds of things can, just hurt your little child's heart.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
talk about these things, right? So body safety education with your kids, reducing the risks for you, and
yeah.
having conversations with people that are in charge of your kids at play. Like we have to talk about this stuff and let people know that it's on our radar.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And just to constantly be reinforcing that idea.
Yeah.
Tell me everything, tell me anything. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to discipline you freakishly. We're just going to like talk about it and figure out the next best thing to do.
Yeah.
For you as an
Exactly.
individual, for me as a parent, for us as a family.
Yeah.
Your child has to get those unconditional vibes and I can trust you
Yeah.
feelings constantly
Yes.
radiating from you and the other adults in their life. They have to know
100%.
you're a soft place to land.
Yeah, they do. And if they don't trust you, then they won't tell you things. They won't tell you things
Right.
like really really scary things, and you don't want that. That's for sure.
I I will say I would be a much better parent of young people today. I know
Oh
so
yeah.
much more. I made so many mistakes. I
Yeah.
literally remember a parent coming up to me saying, "Are you aware of the fact that when our kids were in high school, your daughter called my husband to give her and a friend a ride home from the mall because they'd walk 2 miles to the mall on a road with no sidewalk."
Oh God.
So they perceived this woman's husband
Uh,
as a better person than me.
oh
And
geez.
I was like mortified. Some of the things that my kids have told me now
Oh
make
yeah.
me think they didn't trust me then. And so
Yeah, if
that's
you could
why
do it all over, wouldn't that be
if I
nice?
could do it all over again, that's why I think conversation
Yeah.
daily and on all topics and with um calm faces and
Yeah.
demeanors are
And
so important to your child.
100%, like without
Yeah.
the fear,
Yeah.
and starting early, because that's one thing, I was talking about my mom and how she told us just one thing. If anybody tries to touch your body, especially your private parts, you need to tell me just that one thing. So at least have that conversation with your kids, because you can't be with your kids 24/7. You can reduce the risks. You can FBI background check your babysitters. You can have conversations with your friends, but you cannot be with your kids every second of the day. They go to school,
Right.
they go to camp, they go to friends' houses. You can't keep them in a bubble. So you have to have the conversations.
As a survivor of child sexual abuse, I am so envious of in a good way. I love
Yeah.
you. I'm so happy for you that you disclosed. I had a friend who was experienced sexual harm by someone in her youth group. It was a
Mm.
someone maybe not quite 10 years older than her, but the youth group had a large age range. And she told her mom the same week. And I'm like, what is the difference between Kimberly and my friend and me? But I just realized as I'm sitting here, my parents never told me that, Kimberly. Never
Well,
said,
yeah.
don't let anybody do this and tell me if they do.
Yeah. I mean, and
You gotta have that conversation.
you've got to. Some educators will say not to talk like that because preventing sexual abuse is an adult responsibility. And I agree with that. That is an adult responsibility. And also, we need to tell our kids these things. I think you have to do both, you know?
Yes. Oh, I believe that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're almost done with our time because we love to offer child safety snacks. We're not giving you a whole
Snacks.
meal. We just want to give you something to listen to in the car while you're going to soccer practice or piano lessons. Um, without your child in the car, probably. Um, but yeah, what how do we summarize what we talk about? What we just talked about,
Let's
Kimberly?
say for a little to go snack, like make sure you empower your kids with the knowledge
Yes.
of body safety education and ask specific questions. That will
Yes.
help you keep them safe.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, work on that
Yay.
relational intimacy with your kids, and it's going to have a big payoff. I'll tell you what. My grown kids are my friends now, and I love that.
Yay. All right, Diane. Well, thanks. We'll chat
Yeah.
soon.
Okay. See ya.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Mommunity Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe, write a review if you heard something you liked, or better yet, invite others to be part of this Mommunity.
Until next time. Be safe out there.
Ding, 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 ding.